Are you okay with this?
Yeah. Yes. It's a bit weird, but
In what sense?
I don't know. This sort of documenting everything. I do understand why you're doing it, but it's maybe harder than I thought it would be. We'll talk about that.
It's quite fun. Hello, my name is Ian J. Cole, welcome to my channel, and this is Jane.
Hi.
And we are bringing you this from the past. So today's the 18th of August 2019, and we run a shop called Pocklington Music. And this series of videos is about, what is it about?
It's about, I suppose, to put it bluntly, the beginning of the end. We have made a decision, and we will talk about that in more detail, but we have had to make a decision that we are going to close the shop.
Now, we've run the shop for 7 years. In fact, to be fair, I've run it with Jane for 5 years. The first couple of years Jane ran it on her own, with me having a full-time job and only turning up at weekends and when I could. No. So you pretty much ran it on your own. And Jane's always said she was very much out of her comfort zone doing that, because she's not from a... she's worked in retail before, but never worked in a music shop. You don't consider yourself to be a musician, although you can play a bit.
Yeah, but I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
No.
So we just wanted to put this in context of what we're going to be showing you over the next few videos, and why we've sort of come to this decision. When we bought the business, it was a failing business. It was literally the previous owner. I was going to say run it into the ground, but I don't even think that he did really. I think, oh, did he? What would you say?
No.
I mean,
I think due to, I mean, obviously we weren't him.
No.
But for various reasons, well, it's hard to say that because we don't know the actual reasons. But it was failing.
It was a failing business, and we knew what we were buying. We knew we were buying a failing business. I worked a couple of Saturdays with this chap, and the shop had been described to us the minute we took over as previously being a junk shop. So it wasn't very, the stock. We sell guitars and keyboards and musical instruments. It's a general music shop. It's a small one, but it was quite messy, wasn't it? You know. And I worked a couple of Saturdays, and I remember the chap saying to us, if we hadn't have bought it, he would have closed it. This was September time, I think. August, September time,
2012.
Yeah, we did the transfer. We actually bought it on between Christmas and New Year.
It was December the 28th.
Yeah.
At approximately midday.
Yeah,
to
it was
exact.
yeah. And I remember it was very strange having to do that transfer, because we did it on a laptop in the back of the shop. You weren't there, were you?
No, I wasn't.
And so we didn't. He didn't even have an office where we could go and conduct.
Well, I think didn't you say you did it on the floor?
We did it on the floor. I did it on the floor. Yeah. We actually did the transfer on literally on the floor in the back of the shop with all the stock around us, which was really a bit bizarre at the time. And yes, and so the shop would have, had we not bought it, the shop would have closed the following February, so February 2013, and that was his plan. And in fact, we've since found out that he told the landlord that he was closing, and then reappeared, and annoyingly, the landlord had somebody else lined up for the premises, and he just had to give back word. It was so we only recently found that out when we were talking to our landlord, to the landlord, that he'd actually done that, and we were quite upset by that because the landlord is a fantastic guy. He's one of the fairest landlords I think on the planet. He's done nothing but good while we've had the business, and we've been very upfront with him about giving him plenty of time as to when we will be giving up the shop.
The reason we've had to make this decision, which was not our preferred option. Our preferred option was by far that we wanted to sell it to somebody else so they could just continue it. Unfortunately, the gentleman, and we've had a lot of interest, but the one gentleman who was the most serious buyer or potential buyer has, unfortunately, we found out a couple of days, in fact yesterday, that he isn't going to pursue it. And this has been over several months. So that's why we're doing this, and we're going to be, obviously, looking at things retrospectively. But Ian is now going to tell you sort of how we've actually got to this point.
The process of So we made the decision. Actually, it was last October, wasn't it? So October 2018 was when we sort of came to the conclusion that we wanted to try and sell the business. Actually, to put it really in context, we're not selling our business. We're selling what is Pocklington Music. So we're selling the shop in an asset-only sale. So they're buying the website, the goodwill, and stock and fixtures and fittings. So they're not buying a limited company that runs the business. And I, rather than go through an agent, a business selling agent, excuse me, I made a decision to do that myself, because all a business, having researched it, all a business agent would do would be to put it on a couple of websites. Well, we tried two. One of them generated no interest at all, and it was reasonably cheap for this sort of thing, about £150 I think it cost for the year. The other one was a site called business.com, I think it was, which is the second biggest business selling website in the UK. And the way that worked is that you put your advert up there and you don't pay anything until somebody actually contacts you for information. Well, the minute that happened, you have to pay, and it's about £650 plus VAT for 6 months. So it's not a cheap option. And that generated, shall we say, 9 semi-serious applicants, and then another 3 which would just seem ridiculous. Somebody in Eastern Europe wanting to know all our business details, which we just sort of ignored those. Out of those 9, there was 3 we would consider to be serious, although our last interested buyer was the only person that we know of that came to visit the premises. It's quite possible that people came incognito to see the premises, but we just don't know about that. One of the other people that was interested was clearly sort of having trouble raising the funds, and asked us to reduce our stock level to a certain percentage, which we did try and do while we were still negotiating with him. And then at the end, it just I think he just stopped contacting us. And usually what would happen is that you'd go so far in communication with people, and then they'd either tell you that they weren't interested, or they just stop answering their emails. So that's the situation. So that pretty much brings us up to date. The chap that we've been communicating with, and he came to see us, and he spent a good 4 hours with us, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Wanted to know everything about the business, and I'd sent him what's called a pro forma with lots of financial details about how the shop is run. And we're giving him as much information as possible, and we wanted to be upfront about it as well. And he was very keen, and his reasons for not buying the business are nothing to do with the business. They're to do with his personal
reasons.
Yeah.
Which we
we quite understand, and we appreciate the fact that he called us yesterday on the phone call with both of us, and we're saddened, but we completely understand why. That's made us decide to go with what was always going to be Plan B. Now we have some hard decisions to make in the next week or so, and we will cover them on camera. Plan B is for us to continue to run Pocklington Music, but not as a bricks and mortar shop. We are moving the business online. It's not unique that we would do this, but actually, part of the reason for doing this is to free us up more time. We currently have to be there. It was 6 days a week, but now we've actually cut it down to 5 days a week. But we're there 5 days a week, usually from 10 till 6:30 sometimes, aren't we? And we're at that point in our lives where we want to spend a bit more time. We work together, but we want to spend quality time together, isn't it? Mm. Yeah, that's the reason. So one of the main issues that we've got over the next week, I would say, is that it's not just us running the business, although we do run the business. We subcontract lessons out of the business, so it is affecting in a small way other people's livelihoods. So the difficult decisions we've got to make is what we do about that. And at this point in time, we don't quite know what to do about that.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, we haven't.
Any easy answers.
So we're going to have to come to terms with that shortly, because we have to obviously let people know, and we need to be upfront.
Well, and we have told people that we've had the business on the market, so it's not coming out of the blue. We have been honest about that, and they know our preferred option is to sell the business. And obviously, this has only just happened. It only happened yesterday. We know definitely that the guy has pulled out. So,
and all our tutors know.
Yes, well, that's what I
said. But all the tutors know, but also our landlord knows as well. So we've been upfront with everybody who's involved at this point in time. Anyway, we'll leave this video here for now, and to be continued. We'll see you soon. Okay, cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.